Good afternoon, everyone, if you're in the eastern part of the United States, and good afternoon or whatever time it is to wherever in the world you may be watching. So today we are going to be dealing with Alexi Navalny. The one thing that it's not like I'm trying to be different from the other tarot readers, but when I did the yearly forecast last month, I did choose the death card. And as I've been seeing these things in the news, tarot cards occurred to me. So in the case of Navalny, it's first it was the judgment. Oops, judgment over here. But then I was thinking it's also the death card too. Death card followed by judgment for many reasons. And I must say this is for entertainment purposes only. Got to get that out of the way. And the death card, I'm going to do readings. There'll be everything else I choose will be random. But these two cards will be the focal point. I guess it's just some stylistic thing that seems to resonate with me. So the death card, it's the end of life, but it can mean a new beginning. And in these current event readings, the death card can literally mean death, but in reading for clients, that's not very ethical to do. So it's about death, new beginnings, and transformation, and going into another life. That you need to have the death before you go into the next phase of your life. So the question is, does the death card mean the end of life and a certain kind of life and a new beginning for Russia? And I would say that this is a really, really, really big turning point in the history of Russia. So for this spread, I will have the reflection. Sorry about that. I will have the death card as as sort of the focal point, but the reading will be the reading. So let's see. Where they're at a pretty awful place now with people being arrested for putting flowers on a memorial. So let's see. Right now is the Three of Swords in reverse. This is what's happening right now. And I'm going to take that to mean that that Russia's at a point where they're really not going anywhere. This goes into my theory that I really believe that Putin really overplayed his hand. So I'm going to pick a challenge card. So it's challenged by the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune. Whoa, the Wheel of Fortune, and it is about karma. And a lot of times in personal readings, it can be you better play the lottery this week, or things will be going pretty well. But in this instance, this really, it's literally means what goes around comes around. So in the terms of the death card, it means, and there's the devil right below there. We can pretty much figure out who that is. So they're not going anywhere. It's challenged by karma. And so then in the past, wow, here we go again. They asked me why I use multiple decks. Again, in this deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So I got to get that in the camera in this deck. And I would say that since the invasion, I think I'm tying this in with the invasion of Ukraine, because it's all tied together. their fortunes have not been going. I mean, Putin can huff and puff his chest out, but the fortunes have not been too kind to them. And so this is really meaning the beginning of bad fortune. This is probably what is going to be had. The wheel kind of stops here, but the wheel is moving here. Okay, so then we have underneath here a little bit more of the present. And I'm going to say that that in looking at the plans made, that and there's always a look of regret on this guy's face. So I'm going to say that there could possibly be some regrets in some of the plans that are made. One of which being killing this activist and journalist. And that I'm also going to say, I get a sense with all these coins, it could represent the people that are, Putin's whatever, who work with him, maybe thinking that this was really a bad mistake, but they don't dare say anything. So then we have the future. This is really good. You can't make this stuff up. Wow. The future is strength in reverse. Strength in reverse right here. So which is really saying that in the end, this is a turning point, because in the end, this death is going to weaken Russia and the Putin regime very, very much. So then for hopes and fears, we have again, but this is really interesting. Again, we have the Two of Wands in reverse, which was the main card here, which means that the future is not looking really good. What they hope to accomplish may not come to be. I'm going to say probably with the outrage of the world. So in the concluding or the outcome is the Magician in reverse. So they've been using every dirty trick in reverse, but in the end, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I would say that for the end of life, this is not looking real good for Russia or for Putin as things are now. So that is not too surprising. So the next thing I want to deal with is in the Judgment card, the awakening of the Russian people, because it seems as though those jails are becoming jam-packed, filled with people putting flowers. I mean, if you could imagine that. And I understand that some pilot that defected has also been murdered. And my psychic kind of feel about what happened to Navalny is that I believe that he was that he was in these really bad conditions, very poor, if any diet at all, to really weaken up his immune system, so that because he beat the poison the first time, but I think they wanted to get him so weak that it would be so easy. Just all they needed was a phone call from Putin, and someone goes down to the kitchen and slips a little something in his meal. And I would say that because of his really bad health from being in prison now, I think for a couple of years, that it just didn't take long at all. So that's what I'm feeling. And I know that, and I also get a sense as a medium that he actually knew that by returning to Russia, that this was his destiny, that this is what it was going to take to maybe wake the people of Russia up. I believe he's going to go down in history as a great hero. that if Russia ever gets his act together, he will be the history of children in history books. So at any rate, so I want to ask about the awakening of the Russian people. And the one thing they haven't touched on in the news is not only those in Russia, but there are a lot of people, a lot of young, really brainy types that they left in droves a couple years ago. And there was enough time for, oh, I'm going on holiday. Bye. See you in about 20 years. That kind of thing that I believe that I'm imagining, or I'm getting a sense that there could be some people working to overthrow him in sort of like underground, in a very underground, secretive way. So here we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse, which is usually about about being charitable and giving and taking. So I'm going to say that this could have a multi meaning. Is that, first of all, there are going to be more sanctions and seizures. There could be pressure on places like China not to buy their fuel. So I'm going to say, and I another intuitive thing, I highly suspect that Russia has not been living up to whatever little horrible deal they made with China, and that there could be some consequences for that. So let's see. We have it's challenged by the the Nine of Pentacles, and what I'm going to say is the oligarchs. It's the oligarchs. This represents the oligarchs, and some that may still have their money, but maybe not for long. And that they may be putting some pressure. I'm getting a sense that they could be putting some pressure on him, and that they could turn. But there's also the fear because he just kills everybody. So this looks like they're sort of hanging back, but they may do something. Okay, so we have in the past the Queen of Wands. Well, there's a lot of female energy in here. So the Queen of Wands in reverse is telling me that it's quite possible that in the past there's some very angry, I think I know who this is. I'm going to say that this is Navalny's wife. And when you get that Queen of Wands in reverse, she doesn't take any prisoners. I strongly suspect, and I worry about her safety, by the way, I strongly suspect that this kind of fits in that she's been doing some work and some planning for quite a while now, knowing that this was very likely to happen. And I think she's plotting some kind of revenge. It'd be very interesting to see. So in the present, okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles in the present. So since it is right next to our friend, the Queen of Wands, I suspect that she's getting financed. I believe that she and the other people are getting they're getting money, which would mean that they're very likely getting some protection. How good it is, who knows? So, okay, so the future is, interesting, because see, it was challenged by the Nine of Pentacles. Let's see, we have this lady now. We have this lady in reverse now. Okay, so we got the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, which is kind of like about the oligarchs losing their money and their very comfy, luxurious life. So this is the challenge. This is okay. So we have hope and fear. Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles. So he is the messenger of money to come. But I also like to look at the card itself. He looks very doubtful. He's kind of hanging on to that coin, like, I don't know if I want to hand the fork this over so easily. So I think there's a fear. The hope is that they're getting some new source of money, but I think since the support is drying up, this tells me that people are thinking twice about it. So to conclude, the Hierophant in reverse. The Hierophant is about it's about government institutions that are really set in place. Since this is in reverse, what this tells me is that the government could very well be falling apart. I'm going to say that there may be people in that government, that what this is telling me, that are doing things little by little to kind of sabotage things, because I think most people think that this whole thing with Ukraine is a folly. And I'm going to say that they're going to say that killing this guy and having this big martyr is a very big threat to the Kremlin. So what this is telling me, that it's not only the awakening of the Russian people, but I'm going to say I think that putrid is kind of in danger of, and I know he's very paranoid of that. He's pretty much paranoid about his own people turning on him, and maybe not knowing, because I think maybe the spies in the camp are starting to, like the rats on the sinking ship. So I would say that that as far as the judgment goes, and I'll show you, this one is very interesting. This judgment from this deck is very interesting because, in the standard one, they're just all, they're all rising, and they are. But if you look at them closely, like, they look like they're very, very troubled. They're awakening out of the graves of this horrible man that's been around for so many years now. And they don't seem to be jumping out, but they're kind of slowly, like in the other deck, they're sort of floating out there. They're catching the message of Archangel Gabriel, and they're coming out, but at different times, and some of them look kind of reluctant. So I'm going to say that it's not only the people in exile and the dissidents that are kind of stuck there, but I'm going to say there are a number of people that are waking up. It's like, I always think of the, movies like The Godfather and all the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where, that they put a contract on someone and the person gets off and they say that was a very foolish move. We weren't ready to do that. That was very stupid. And that starts the wars with the gangs and all that sort of thing. Or I think of the movie of Some Like It Hotter. They put a contract out on the guy that put the contract for the Valentine's Day Massacre. So I'm going to say that I'm feeling strongly that there's a lot of that going on. So I'm hoping that you're enjoying, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, that you hit the subscribe and like button. And so I'm going to go on to the next thing with Death and Judgment together, U.S. reaction and the pressure, if that's going to increase. I know that the pressure in the House has increased for funding for Ukraine, because those people that support Navalny do not want to see Russia conquering Ukraine and then moving to Poland and the Balkans and all this sort of thing. So I'm going to do kind of a quick, let's see, the U.S. reaction in the, okay. I'm seeing a lot of heartbreak because that idiot is not going to bring it to the floor. But the question is the heartbreak big enough that I heard talk that maybe some of the retiring Republicans may put the vote to override him. So I'm going to say, how much of this pain can they take? How much can they take? So that could be motivating with a tremendous amount of guilt and knowing that, and it's also like the pain. Am I going to be remembered as being on the wrong side of history? So it's challenged by the world in reverse. So this is saying a lot of unfinished business. There's a lot of unfinished business. It's saying that it's kind of like they can't go on to other things until they get this pretty much settled. Okay, so in the past here we have the Seven of Swords. Okay, so this is definitely Putin, and I'm going to say the orange one too. That this guy has gotten away with murder. Well, Putin has literally gotten away with murder, and but he's got all those swords in his hands, which is telling me that he may have taken that one sword too many. But he's a tyrant who has literally gotten away with murder. So then, in the present, we have the Knight of Wands here. Then the Knight of Wands is pretty much about, it's all about being rash and moving too fast. So I'm going to say that this is a continuation of Putin going way out of control. He just doesn't know when to stop that horse, and he's just burning it down and setting it on fire, which is what the rods represent. In the future, the Six of Wands in reverse. This is usually the victory card, but this is saying he's in a losing game. He's in a losing game, and also there are some only a few figures in the shadowy figures in the front, and then looking underneath the horse in the background, they're all leaving. So this is in reverse, and so then we have hopes and fears. Hopes, the Two of Cups is about alliances, so the hopes of keeping some alliances, but it's in reverse. So this could there could be some breaking of alliances. That's what I'm seeing, and it could be the breaking of alliances that of people loyal to, because I'm putting Putin and Trump in the people loyal to the agenda in the House, that may be broken. And I've been saying for a while, there could be some Republicans that are going to walk across the floor and say, no, we can't take this anymore, because the whole thing with the death here of Navalny, and people awakening, and maybe the people in their districts are awakening, because they forget there's a lot of Eastern European people who they're here because they hate Russia. I mean, aside from Ukrainians, I mean, that's the one common denominator. So the old alliances with the Republican Party, and I know personally Polish people, Ukrainians, because of the communist thing, they're like Cubans, they've been Republicans. But now I don't think so, because I'm going to sense that they feel like they're getting betrayed. So hopes and fears. The fear is that of losing that. And if Trump loses the control, then Putin loses the control. So let's see what we have for conclusion is the Hermit. And so what this is saying is that this guy here, the Putin Trump tyrant getting away with murder, is going to find themselves very much alone, but not in a good way, like when this card is upright. And they're going to be facing their constituents. So that's pretty much what's going on there. So I would say that there may be a chance that there may be. It's hard to say. There may be a chance that these people may be guilted into going along, and if enough of their constituents, because I'm sure they've been hearing a lot since they've been on that stupid 2-week vacation, that a lot of their constituents are probably putting some pressure on this. Not the MAGAs. The MAGAs could care less. They could care less about children in Ukraine or any place else that are dying, as long as they keep the power. So I'm going to do just a very quick 3-card spread on world reaction. Okay. So we've got the 4 of Wands, which is really about marriage alliances, and that we are strongly allied with the rest of the world. So I'm going to say, I'm feeling as though a lot behind the scenes. I'm feeling as though there's a lot of pressure on the U.S. to help Ukraine out in light of all of this. And I'm going to say that this could also be a uniting thing. The 7 of Pentacles is, well, she's a little bit out of reach of the money. So I'm going to say that I think that people in other countries are, and NATO and the EU are probably trying to think of ways of helping us finance and get some money through. This is what some of the other readers have been saying. Get some money through the back door to help them out. And then we have here again the three of swords, the heartbreak, and we've got to get through this storm. To me, what this is saying, it's going to have to hurt them, that we will eventually get through this storm, but I'm going to say, going to have to hurt them. It's going to have to hurt enough for them to bend to the pressure. So, but there will be a lot of pressure, because I don't think that we're the only people pressuring those idiots in Congress. I think this is what this is telling me, there's a worldwide thing, and this really is kind of a catalyst. So to conclude, for our moment of stench, we have a 2 clothespin thing. And of course, it's obvious that the Orange Menace has said very little or anything about. He made it all about him. I don't even want to repeat it. So I think I want to do maybe just kind of like a 1-card thing here. And as I say, I'm keeping Death and Judgment in mind. Okay. So let me do a 1-card thing here. So we have got the Page of Swords, the Messenger. I would say that this can be even upright, sort of like the enemy in the camp. I love that, the enemy in the camp. So this is telling me there's probably an enemy in the camp in Trumpanzee world, of someone who this was kind of something a little bit too far, and that this is going to come back and bite him. This is telling me, with the sword down, he's been hanging on to something, but that waiting for maybe the right time, and this may be the right time. So this, I would say, this is not going to help the court cases or the campaign. So what this is telling, what this whole reading is telling me, that death is, the death card is about, because of this death, that maybe there's I think he knew it, and he wanted to give a chance for Russia to be reborn, and maybe in a sense the rest of the world reborn. And it's like the king is underneath, the king is dead, long live the king, which could possibly be for entertainment purposes only, Putin. That they're really going to have to, they're just going to have to not be into him anymore. That's what it's about. And as reluctant as people are, that this is the thing, this is, to me, judgment is the wake-up call. This is the big wake-up call for Russia and the world. So it's going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen. So I want to thank you all, and please subscribe and hit the like button. So I'm going to sign off for now. Bye, everybody. Oops, do it like that. Where are you? Okay, bye.